التجربة التي في قادسية صدام المجيدة وأم المعارك الخالدة.
Kuwait was the main financier of Saddam's war against Iran, but Saddam miscalculated. Kuwait was not like Iran for the United States and the West to remain silent in the face of an attack on Kuwait. The U.S. president immediately reacted.
The United States and its coalition allies are committed to enforcing the United Nations resolutions that call for Saddam Hussein to immediately and unconditionally leave Kuwait. In view of the Soviet initiative, which very frankly we appreciate, we want to set forth this morning the specific criteria that will ensure Saddam Hussein complies with the United Nations mandate.
These were the moments when a limited war broke out between the U.S. and Iraq over Kuwait, which ultimately led to complete sanctions on Iraq, to the extent that Saddam was forced to destroy all his missiles and declare the location of all his defense facilities to the west. Saddam implemented all the tasks that the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, dictated to him, and didn't even know that the new U.S. president was going to attack him without getting a UN approval.
Involves Saddam Hussein.
This president is the son of the president who had attacked Iraq in the past.
To the American people. And we got to deal with him. We got to deal with him before it is too late.
Now Saddam is here and is walking among these children without even knowing that they have plans for him out there. The Americans brought this special fighter jet to their secret base in Saudi Arabia. As these aircraft take off, Saddam's days are numbered. But Saddam does not know anything about the U.S. F-117s. He is with the nomads who support him, so they feast in front of him. Saddam was seriously harmed in the previous war with Bush Sr.,
Mr. Bush, welcome.
but he still relies on his defense systems. No electronic warfare system could fail the systems during the war between Egypt and Israel. Even Iran's American Phantoms could not easily escape from the grip of this air defense. However, the U.S. winning card was secretly in test flights in the American secret bases in Saudi Arabia, and Saddam was totally unaware of it. A sort of radar-evading fighter jets that were supposed to break records. Russian and Iraqi mid-range air defense systems stood no chance against these bombers. It seemed that Saddam would soon be done away with. F-117s, this black shadow, will take its first serious test here in Iraq's Mesopotamia. Finally, the anticipated night arrived. The F-17s departed from Saudi Arabia at 2200. Saddam is here. He's giving a speech to senior members of the Iraqi Ba'ath Party in order to disturb the thinking of the Iraqi defense commanders. American warships started firing missiles at Baghdad from the Persian Gulf. Iraq did not have a proper defense to destroy the missiles. The Americans launched more than 700 fighters and bombers after the F-117s took off. The largest air raid since the end of the World War II began. If the F-117s succeed, the bombing will finish off Iraq. But if they fail, the Iraqi defense systems will inflict the biggest defeat on the U.S. in its history. The Americans are still not confident that they will achieve victory, so they send their Apache helicopters to shoot at Iraqi defenses at the border. Everyone is supposed to divert attention of the Iraqi commanders so that the F-117s can strike all the defense systems. Suddenly, the sky of Iraq turns red. The anti-aircraft batteries are heavily at work, but no rockets are still being fired. The shadow is not detected yet, and the shots are blindly fired. The F-117 opens its belly, and the bombs are dropped on the defense systems. That's all. It's a coup de grace. The attack by 700 bombers begins. The Iraqi radar system used the method of sending radar waves towards the aircraft, which would then bounce back and identify the type of flying object. But the F-117's fuselage is made of radar-absorbing materials known as RAM. These waves ensured that the F-117 was never detected and could easily attack its targets. Saddam may have been thinking about it when he was being held captive by the American soldiers. Why wasn't a single missile fired from its defenses towards the American aircraft? Iraq easily falls, and many countries around the world are watching the fall. One of these countries is Iraq's neighboring country to the east, Iran. The people of Iran were as disgusted with Saddam as the people of Iraq. Saddam's fall did not upset them, but what caused concern was America's decisive success in the battle against Saddam. Iran had to learn lessons from this battle in order to stand against the U.S. After America's first attack on Iraq in 1990, Iran realized that if another battle were to occur in the region of West Asia, it would not be a battle between two neighbors. The era of proxy wars has ended, and this time the superpower itself will attack the countries. The fall of Afghanistan and Iraq is evidence of this situation. These days, American TV channels broadcast these images very often. America's show of force in occupying any country it wants, especially this type of promotional images. These are symbols of the 1,000 cruise missiles that the U.S. launched into Iraq. Iraq is not a vast country. If 1,000 cruise missiles escaped from Iraq's radar systems and hit the targets, why can't Iran be invaded by the same method?
پلیس چجور در روی زمین کار رو انجام می‌دهد، پدافند هوایی همین مسئولیت را در آسمان به عهده داره. پدافند هوایی یک یگان، یک نیروی 24 ساعته است.
Iran is an extensive land, full of mountains and plains. It is the best place to use cruise missiles. To hit a cruise missile, special radar systems are needed at low and very high altitudes. These air defense batteries are also the first step in the fight against cruise missiles. The sky must be turned into a fire before rockets are targeted. Only after having the radar to detect this terrible shadow, it is necessary for a missile to reach this height and hit the black monster. That's right before the hatch of its bomb opens and the monster falls on the people on Earth. These bombers take off in the US and hit their targets in other continents. Phantom fighters, the symbol of the US power. A massive aircraft behind which all arrogant and colonial power of the US is entrenched. The US has returned to the era before the 20th century, to the days when the colonists themselves invaded directly other countries. Iran is the only independent country in the world among the countries that America has declared enmity against. It was not affiliated with the former Soviet Union, nor is it willing to surrender. Breaking Iran can serve as an important lesson for the world. Iran's defense industry experts have a big concern. Are they able to quickly protect the country against such air raids? These systems and machines are all manufactured and produced either by the US or UK. The range of their missiles is very limited and their radars are hard to repair. But for now, all of Iran's defense capacity is restricted to such facilities, and the country has to advance its scientific potentials as well. The Rapier and Hawk systems. Rapier is a British short-range surface-to-air missile launcher, and Hawk was an American medium-range surface-to-air missile system. Iran had purchased them before the revolution. The missiles barely reached the required range to hit Iraqi fighter jets during the war. Now, these are Iran's only tools to fend off a possible attack by countries like the US. Of course, Iran had also bought a type of air defense system from the country where this man's pictures were painted on its walls, from Libya. During a symbolic parade, the systems are loaded for delivery to Iran, but they were not made by Libya. The Soviets had built them and named them Sam-2 and sold them to Libya. However, after Sam-2 was imported to Iran, it immediately stopped working after Libya's support was terminated. Gaddafi had decided to join the club of Saddam's supporters. Now, Iran must have launched and repaired the systems by itself. Thus, Iran was coerced to reverse engineer foreign radars and build the first national radar at home. In 1983, the US invaded Iraq, and Iran must quickly acquire the systems that will put the entire country under a dome of protective waves. Iran is going to buy the Sam-5 from Russia. Russia's S-200 or Sam-5 eventually joins the Iranian army.
یه طراحی داشته باشیم ببینیم چیکار میشه کرد. به این فکر رسیدن که ما با استفاده از یک هواپیمای شکاری خودی این سیستم رو روی هواپیما قفل بکنیم و در حالت دورشونده روی موشک پرتاب بکنیم. بعد از 1 دقیقه تعقیب هدف موشک رو هوا منفجر یعنی اکسپلش بکنیم از داخل، چون این قابلیت رو داره که رو هوا میتونیم موشک رو از داخل از سایت زمین کابین زمینی منفجر کنیم. حالا کی جرأت داشت که با این شرایط روی یک هواپیمای خودی موشک پرتاب بکنه؟ اون التهاب، اضطرابی که در اون لحظاتی که همه کار رو انجام دادیم، قفل انجام شده، میخوایم موشک رو بر علیه یک هواپیمای خودی پرتاب بکنیم. پروفایل این کشیده شد، روی یک بورد کشیده شد، بارها پاک شد، تنظیم شد، از کدوم زاویه بیاد، چه زاویه‌ای بیاد، چون باید منطقه رو ما کلیر می‌کردیم که هواپیمای در منطقه حضور نداشته باشه برای اون لحظاتی که ما می‌خوایم عملیات رو انجام بدیم. این گفت اون نفر بشینه، این گفت اون نفر بشینه، بالاخره همه به این نتیجه رسیدن که این افتخار نصیب بنده شد. یک روز بنا شد که هواپیما بیاد، ما آزمایشی قفل بکنیم و روز بعد بیاد که موشک رو پرتاب بکنیم. خداوند کمک کرد. در روز اول ما هواپیما اومد، خیلی راحت روش قفل کردیم. از مسیری که انجام شده بود، پروفایلی که تعیین شده بود، چه دور شونده چه نزدیک شونده، اومد رفت و منتظر روز بعد شدیم. روز اصلی دیگه ما چون مهمان دعوت داشتیم، از فرمانده کل ارتش اومده بودن، ساعت حدودا فکر کنم 9:30 یه رو به 10 ما آماده شدیم برای این کار و هواپیما یواش یواش وارد منطقه شد. کاتری، موشک آماده، قفل، هواپیما، همه چی زیبا. خیلی واقعا میشه گفتش که واقعا خدا کمک کرد. نگاه کردم دیدم که لانچر شماره 2 به من آماده باش داده شد. همه چی آماده بود و به یاری خداوند من یک الله اکبر بلندی گفتم و موشک رو پرتاب کردم و موشک به راحتی پرتاب شد. ما مسیر موشک رو روی سیستم داریم، منتظر شدیم، دقیقاً تایم گرفتیم. سر 1 دقیقه من موشک رو اسپلش کردم و هواپیما هم زد روی AB افتر برنینگ اونجا آماده شد که بزنه و با سرعت افتر برنینگ از منطقه دور شد.
Psalm 5 is also handed over to the defense industry for study. Research on the concept of radar had been started for a long time and continued. Men and women came to work on the plan from all universities in the country. For the first time in its history, Iran wants to completely entrust its military needs to young students. The Mersad air system is the result of the trust. Mersad means ambush. The Iranian ambush is an example of the reverse engineering of the American hawk. The first step to conquer the sky step by step. This is 2010. The Mersads launched their missiles one after the other. The missiles are called Shaheen and are domestically produced by Iran. The missile control room is also domestically produced. This is an important secret. This room is the big secret of Iranians. Without having information about it, it's impossible for the enemy to easily disable it.
Escorting material 44401.
In today's world, if the defense systems are not indigenous, the fate of Iraq will repeat itself, and Iran is aware of this very well.
اگر نیروی هوایی بتونه به تفوق هوایی برسه، تفوق هوایی یک مرحله بالاتر از برتری هواییه، یعنی سیطره کامل، قاعدتاً جنگ رو برده. چه وقتی یک کشور به تفوق هوایی میرسه؟ وقتی که از نظر تجهیزاتی و مهارت بتونه بر نیروی هوایی کشور مقابل غلبه بکنه.
The Mersad missiles were quickly updated. Mersad 1, 2, and 3. The Mersad air defense system consisted of 3 main components: missile and launcher, detection radar, and engagement radar, all of which in the initial versions were reverse engineered from the American Hawk air defense system. This system is of medium range, and its operational range has been calculated to be up to 40 kilometers, but it's not meant to stop there. The Shaheen missile quickly turns into Shalamche with a speed of about 4 times the speed of sound. Shalamche can hit any target at an altitude of 18 kilometers. This means Iran is gradually approaching the highest altitude. The firing of Shalamche from the Mersad systems leads the then defense minister to respond to the U.S. claims. They claim to have the ability to attack Iran.
که ما همه گزینه‌ها رو برای پاسخگویی به هر تهدید در دست داریم و بی تردید هر تجاوزی به خاک جمهوری اسلامی با پشیمانی جبران نشدنی برای دشمنان ما به بار خواهد آورد.
Iran has an important theory called the defense dome. However, the defense dome has many needs that cannot be met by the Shalamche system alone. It requires special radars that can withstand the electronic warfare of the major powers. Perhaps something on the level of American air defense systems. But this is a big claim. American fighter jets fly at high altitudes, and they cannot be detected with ordinary radars. Will Iran build its own defense dome?
ما در دفاع از هوا به گونه‌ای عمل خواهیم کرد که تهدیدات بالقوه‌ای که در اینجا وجود دارد به بالفعل تبدیل نشود. ما این اجازه رو نخواهیم داد. با تنوع سامانه‌های پدافندی، سامانه‌های راداری، سامانه‌های موشکی و سامانه‌های توپخانه‌ای یک عملیات ترکیب جنگ افزارها را انجام دادیم به گونه‌ای که نذاریم این تهدیدات بالقوه به بالفعل تبدیل بشه.
In the 2010s, the country enters a new era, in which the turmoil of sanctions will reach its peak, and it's the economic issues that will attract more attention than the military ones. In 2013, the United Nations Security Council imposed sanctions on Iran based on a proposal by the US and its Western allies. One of the branches of the embargo is the purchase of weapons. It means Iran will soon face an important challenge regarding one of its purchases, the S-300. Iran has long been trying to buy a Russian system called the S-300. Tehran has already purchased a sort of the export version of the system. This system is called Tor M1 or Psalm 15. The range of the missiles and radar of this system is short and suitable for hitting cruise missiles and drones at low altitudes. Therefore, the S-300 can undo the knots of the Iranian defense dome. Tor means dominance. The Russian system has a lot of operational capability at very low to medium altitudes, but may be captured in enemy cyber operations. These 300s should reach Iran, but the same system gets stuck in the net of sanctions, and their delivery to Iran has made headlines for quite a while.
وزير الخارجية الأمريكي جون كيري عبر في اتصال هاتفي مع نظيره الروسي سيرگئی لاوروف.
مختصری اطلاعیه داد وزیر خارجه آمریکا با تماسی تلفنی با همتای روسی خود سرگئی لاوروف درباره نگرانی خود از تصمیم واگذاری موشک‌های اس-300 به ایران گفت.
إلى ذلك فإن تداعيات القرار
همچنین در این باره بنیامین نتانیاهو با همتای روسی خود ولادیمیر پوتین تماس تلفنی برقرار کرد. او اذعان کرد که حکومتش از تصمیم روسیه نسبت به واگذاری موشک اس-300 به ایران نگران میباشد.
بنیامین نتانیاهو نخست وزیر اسرائیل اینجا در سفری دیگر به مسکو و طبق معمول یکی از اهدافش اعمال فشار بر روسیه درباره برنامه هسته‌ای ایران و نفروختن سامانه اس-300.
آمریکا پیش از این مخالفت خود را با فروش این سامانه به ایران اعلام کرده بود و مسکو باید نگرانی واشنگتن و متحدانش را در منطقه جدی بگیرد.
موشک‌های اس-300 جزء سوالاتی است که معمولاً عزیزان سوال می‌کنند.
The position of the Islamic Republic is standing against any aggression and humiliation. The then defense minister expressed in front of the cameras like this.
ما فکر میکنیم که روسیه نباید در دام این تله امریکایی‌ها بیفته و تحت فشار اونها قرار بگیره. به هر حال ما از مجاری قانونی پیگیر موضوع هستیم.
اینی که کشور بتوانه از خودش دفاع بکنه و این رو دیگران بدونن که این قدرت دفاعی در کشور هست، این خیلی مهمه. شما ببینید سر قضیه اس-300 که ما می‌خواستیم بخریم چه جنجالی را انداختن و پشت این جنجال چه تحرکاتی، انقدر مسافرت کردن به روسیه بیا برو فلان که این اتفاق نیفتاد، در حالی که اس-300 که بنا نیست شهری رو بزنه، اس-300 بناست مهاجم رو بزنه. اینه دیگه، یعنی قدرت دفاعی رو در کشور دشمن نمیتونه تحمل بکنه. این که شما قدرت دفاعی داشته باشید و نمیتونه تحمل کنه. بنابراین یکی از اساسی ترین کارها همینه که ما ابزارهای دفاعیمون رو تقویت بکنیم.
Delay in delivery of the S-300 prompts Iran to start developing a similar air defense system. It's a bold claim, but Iran has previously reverse-engineered American systems, so it isn't unlikely to reach this one as well. Meanwhile, the project to design an Iranian S-300 system had started, and on the other hand, the complaint against the Russians had yielded good results, and the first convoy of S-300s was arriving in Iran. After all, the S-300 is finally arriving in Iran. Iran has gained significant expertise in reverse engineering defense technology and is now moving toward designing a new system based on a combination of Western and Eastern technologies. Iran has many natural specifications, which are why it needs diverse air defense systems. The combination of these systems is called DOME. The Iranian dome covers everywhere in the country, including the mountains and even the seas. With the launch of the new military satellite, there is hope that Iran will be able to monitor its land from space. However, until that day comes, there are still several wonders left for the Americans. First, at the beginning of the 2010s, here at the Kandahar Air Base belonging to the U.S. occupying forces in Afghanistan. In the early 2010s, Iran was no longer like Iraq, where by destroying limited radar stations, one could blind the eyes. This was a lesson that Iran's air defense gave to the Americans in December of 2011. This aircraft that takes off the ground will leave a different mark in the history of Iran-US relations. The aircraft utilizes the cutting-edge military technology in the world, the Beast of Kandahar, or the RQ-170. It's an aircraft with the highest level of stealth. The RQ flies into Iranian airspace. The RQ pilots are certain that no one is able to see them on its radar. no Iranian air defense had locked on RQ. Everything is like the F-117s that flew over Iraq. The American side is completely relaxed, but the Americans are wrong. Not only the radars see the RQ, but even the flight image of the aircraft can be seen live in the Iranian operations room. A few minutes later, the RQ connection with the Kandahar center is cut off. The Americans are still confused as to what happened to their strategic UAV, and these images are broadcast on Iranian TV.
هواپیمای جاسوسی رادارگریز RQ-170 کاملا سالم است.
The RQ is safe and sound on the ground and now in control of the Islamic Revolution Guard Corps personnel. The footage is amazing. Has Iran reached a level of technology that can not only see or destroy the most important espionage aircraft in the world, but also land it safely on the ground?
حادثه طبس یک بار دیگر برای امریکایی‌ها تکرار شد. این بار یکی از پیشرفته‌ترین هواپیماهای جاسوسی رژیم امریکا به دام جنگ الکترونیک حزب الله افتاد و با عنایت الهی توانستیم با کمک مشترک و اقدام مشترک ارتش و سپاه در یک کار بسیار طولانی یکی از پیشرفته‌ترین هواپیماهای امریکا رو که دارای ویژگی‌های خاصی هست در دام در واقع جمهوری اسلامی ایران گرفتار بکنیم. این هواپیما از نوع هواپیماهای استیلز و رادارگریز هست. این فناوری دقیقاً فناوری است که در هواپیماهای B-2 و F-35 استفاده شده و از زوایای مختلف این یک شکست مهلک برای امریکا محسوب میشه. اولا با دستیابی به فناوری بدنه و پنهانکاری این هواپیما قادر خواهیم بود تجهیزات مقابله با اونها رو برای کشف و شناسایی در واقع بتونیم فناوری رو دست پیدا بکنیم و بسازیم. نکته دوم امکاناتی که در داخل این هواپیما وجود داره، هم از دوربین‌های پیشرفته، رادارهای SAR که در واقع در همه گونه شرایط جوی قادر هست تصویر تهیه کنه و زمین رو اسکن میکنه. این یک تکنولوژی و فناوری پیشرفته‌ای هست که میتونه به ما الگوهای خوبی رو ارائه بکنه. از طرفی سیستم هایی که در واقع با ماهواره به صورت لحظه‌ای ارتباط داره که در قسمت فوقانی این هواپیما تعبیه شده، این امکان رو به ما میده هم به فناوری ساخت اونها دست پیدا بکنیم، هم نحوه ارتباط اینها با ماهواره رو متوجه بشیم که در اقدامات مقابله با سایر هواپیماها و از این مدل هواپیمایی که امریکایی دارن در واقع بتونیم بهره بگیریم.
The news is true. So true that the US president confirms it in front of the cameras in amazement.
ما خواستار بازگرداندن این هواپیما شدیم و منتظر هستیم که ببینیم پاسخ ایرانی ها چه خواهد بود.
Iran gives the answer to the US side a year later in this place, when the leader of the revolution sits in front of the American UAV and the Iranian version of the RQ-170.
جذابترین بخش مراسم امروز رونمایی از RQ-170 های ایرانی بود. به نظر میرسه از فردا این اتفاق و این مهندسی معکوس بازتاب‌های وسیعی در رسانه‌های جهان داشته باشه.
تست‌های زمینیش انجام بده، انشالله بعد از این نمایشگاه تست پروازیش انجام میشه. پرنده‌ای هست که قادر خواهد بود شناسایی عمیق بکنه و کار رزمی عمیق.
بالاخره مأموریت‌های اطلاعاتی این پهپاد خیلی مهمه.
Seamorg is an Iranian model of the RQ-170 that takes off the ground.
سیمرغ کدوم اینو میگی؟ این هواپیما در شعاع دوربرد در فواصل دور میتواند 4 نقطه رو بره بمباران بکنه دقیق با بمب‌های هوشمند نقطه زن و سالم برگردید.
After the RQ took off, the aerospace commander of the IRGC had this to say to the media.
کار دفاع مثل دوچرخه سواریه. اگر بیستی میفته. دشمن داره میره جلو، ما هم با حرکت کنیم ادامه بدیم. هواپیمای سیمرغ که در واقع RQ-170 امریکایی شده سیمرغ ایرانی. بله این هم الحمدلله تولیدی شده. ما یعنی از این نوع هواپیما در مقیاس‌های مختلف داریم دیگه، در اندازه‌های مختلف داریم برای مأموریت‌های مختلف. همونطور که اشاره کردم ما بر اساس ایده‌های عملیاتی مخصوص خودمون سفارش میدیم و عزیزان ما در بخش‌های در واقع تحقیقاتی و تولید تسلیحات هم الحمدلله سریع کار میکنن و خوب کار میکنن و تولیدات بسیار خوبی دارن. مجموعه عملیاتی هم خوب داره استفاده میشه.
Some time later, Seamorg makes its first operational cross-border flight here, striking the Daesh headquarters near the U.S. military base. This is not a simple event. In this way, the Seamorg flies from Iran in the middle of the night and strikes the strategic depth of Daesh in such a way that the U.S. defenses did not show the slightest reaction. The Iranian Seamorg was hidden from the U.S. defenses, and this by no means is something irrelevant. An important achievement has been made in this dark night. However, Iran's air defense system has just begun its job. The Iranian skies are no longer safe for spy aircraft. August 2014, Isfahan province. This fragmented aircraft is the Israeli regime's most important spy aircraft, Hermes. The legendary name shows that the Israeli UAV is very smart, intelligent, and untraceable, of course, until before this scene. This is the same Hermes that had been unveiled with this shape and image. In an ugly and inhuman act, Israel used civilian airliners as a shield for Hermes. Firing any missiles towards Hermes could have caused the downing of a passenger plane, and this alone would have been a means of media war against Iran. The Israelis never admitted that they hid their espionage UAV in the airway routes. Therefore, the detection and targeting process of the espionage UAV took roughly 40 minutes and finally was destroyed over the city of Natanz. The fact that the Iranian radars detected the not-so-large Israeli drones among all the passenger planes is just one side of the story. But the fact that the Iranian missiles were able to distinguish this super stealth UAV from the other planes without mistake and destroy it is another story. It means Iran has reached a high level in air defense. This preparedness is a product of these drills.
sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam.
رمز دریافت شد. رمز دریافت شد. رمز دریافت شد.
This is Semnon in 2018. The Iranian army is in war drills, and the cameras catch a glimpse of a special radar and air defense system. This system is called Mersad. But the type of its missile remains unknown, and no information about them was published until the end of the 2000s.
سامانه پدافند هوایی ما به تجهیزاتی تجهیز شده است و مجهز شده است که 100% تولید داخل است و به دست توانمند خود عزیزان ساخته شده و عملکردش هم در این رزمایش ما دیدیم 100% موفق.
Drone power and defense power. These images are displaying only the power of one of the combat units of the Iranian army. Not all of Iran's armed forces. That was in 2018. That is, only 30 years after the final year of Iraq's war on Iran and when Iran had a lot of problems defending its own skies. A year later, the Semnan Desert again. The Mirsad 16 system is supposed to be tested here.
رمز رزمایش مدافعان آسمان ولایت 98 را اعلام می نمایم. یا محمد رسول الله، یا محمد رسول الله، یا محمد رسول الله.
The Mirsad 16 is a mobile air defense system, but it uses a radar system known as phase array. Phase array is a complex system that makes very large radars. Not every country can manufacture the system. The Iranian Hafiz radar is highly capable and has brought Iran to a point where it can cover up to 250 kilometers. Hafiz simultaneously engages and tracks 100 targets. This is how Hafiz was tested next to Mirsad 16.
ما بیش از 40 سال هم تحریم بودیم هم تهدید می شدیم. پدافند هوایی افتخار میکنه که در طول این سالها تونسته از لبه فناوری‌های حوزه‌های مرتبط دفاعی عبور کنه. یه زمانی دیدن هواپیماهای رادارگریز آرزو بود. یه زمانی هواپیماهای با سطح مقطع راداری کم با RCS کم آرزو بود. یه زمانی هدف قرار دادن بعضی از هواپیماها به دلایل تکنولوژی برتر و اینکه شاید تکنولوژی ساخت سیستم سلاح در اختیار کشورهای برتر بود آرزو بود.
But the odds are against a former absolute power in the sky. This is the Northrop Grumman Corporation, the manufacturer of the billion-dollar Phantom aircraft. They built the X-47 to compete with the RQ, and now they are assembling the highest flying American spy aircraft. The Pakistanis also love the UAV, but Iran will soon disrupt the game for this factory as it turned the tables on the RQ manufacturer. Global Hawk. It is an eye that looks at the ground from about twice the height of other types of aircraft with pinpoint accuracy. Maybe we could say that the most important part of this drone is the SAR radar. SAR scans the surface of Earth. Global Hack can scan 7 million square meters in a single day.
سیستم‌های راداری ها می‌توانند اطلاعات را در نزدیکترین زمان ممکن به دست بیاورند، حتی در شرایط طوفان، گرد و غبار و آب و هوای بد.
But on June 20th, 2019, for the United States, some developments are underway. This is the American base in the United Arab Emirates. The Global Hawk is to take off. The destination is Iran. The Global Hawk has turned off all of its detection systems and is untraceable. The American Hawk can be seen on the Iranian radar from the moment it takes off. It is getting closer and closer to Iran every moment. So much so that it reaches around the Mubarak mountain area.
بین ما و آمریکا 12,000 کیلومتر فاصله هوایی است. اگر همین کار رو متقابل ما در مقابل امریکا انجام میدادیم، امریکا چه عکس‌العملی نشون میداد؟ اگر ما با هواپیمای بدون سرنشین در سواحل مثلا واشنگتن اگه پرواز میکردیم، آیا اونا اجازه میدادن به فاصله 20 کیلومتری سواحل ما نزدیک بشیم؟
It is in the crosshairs of this system now. The Khordad-3 radar and missile launcher, a system that the Americans saw a few days ago on the Shahid COSG vessel, but they do not know that the very system is going to surprise them tonight.
شش کیلومتر 96 تا 75 درجهش 96 کیلومتر ارتفاع 14 کیلومتر داره ارتفاعشو میبره بالا میگه بزن آتش با رمز یا فاطمه الزهرا یا فاطمه الزهرا آتش شلیک شد بله شلیک شده سمت بیه دما 18 کیلومتر فاصله داره MQ الان با بیه 18 کیلومتر فاصله داره الان 90 کیلومتر نه مجدد چک کن بذار چک کن آن که باید چک کن از بین رفت بله خورده بله الله
From this moment, this name, Khordad-3, will be scary for all American aircraft. The defense system of Khordad-3. Sometimes after the explosion, the damaged body of Global Hawk is taken out of the water. This wreckage will be placed on display for people and officials to see. In the release pictures of the remains of the drone, one of the images attract most of the attention. The picture is an image of the SAR radar, the most important part of the Global Hawk.
رادار SAR هست که با رزولوشن بالا، کیفیت‌های بالا تصاویر را ارسال میکنه برای فرماندهی و کنترل.
Iran has achieved this technology at its highest level. 3 years before this event, Absar radar had been unveiled here on Kish Island in Iran. But possessing American radar can make the Iranians fully aware of their opponent and the American technology. American SAR can work even in the most stormy of weather. Now Iran is the only country that has this radar.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
The radar that begins its work here at the hands of the Army Chief is the radar that detected the Global Hawk. This radar is called Samin.
در محیط جنگ الکترونیکی که جریان داره، توانایی مداومت کار این سامانه بسیار بالاست و خوشبختانه ما می توانیم این نوید رو بدهیم که نسبت به تهدیدات به روز و بلکه دست بالا رو خواهیم داشت.
Those days, Iran was building 2 other important radars as well, Miraj and Nazir.
رادار نظیر، رادار راهبردی و رادار عملیاتی منطقه شما با رمز یا قائدنا الخامنه‌ای یا قائدنا الخامنه‌ای یا قائدنا الخامنه‌ای از این لحظه
وارد شبکه یکپارچه پدافند هوایی کشور شده و اطلاعات اون مورد بهره برداری قرار گیرد ان شاء الله.
اولین نکته مهم دو رادار راهبردی بینا و نظیر که در مناطق جنوب شرق کشور و در مرکزیت به شرق کشور گسترش پیدا کردن این هست که یک رادار در نقطه کوهستانی و یک رادار در نقطه دشت و بیابانی در حقیقت مستقر شدن. نکته دوم این هست که این رادارها تکنولوژیشون و فناوریشون کاملا بومی هست. به هیچ عنوان هیچ گلوگاهی در این رادارها ما نداریم، ضمن اینکه حتی نمونه ای از این رادارها در کشورهای منطقه‌ای و در جهان هنوز گزارش نشده. این رادارها در فرکانس‌های متفاوت و با پرش فرکانسی و همچنین در باندهایی که غیر قابل شنود توسط دشمن هست طراحی شده. طراحی اون با جوانان برومند پدافند هوایی و دانشجویان دانشگاه‌های برتر کشور بوده. این پروژه کمتر از 2 سال به نتیجه رسیده، تولید شده و این تولید در 2 نقطه کشور مستقر شده.
This is Nazir, which stands on the highest peak in the east of the country. Nazir is used like a radar net against the smallest drones. This radar system is Nazir's brother, Muraqib. It watches over the Persian Gulf.
از تکنولوژی بسیار بالایی برخوردار هستش و الان در مدار عملیاتی قرار گرفته.
در باند اس قرار داره و این هم یک توان خوبی رو به نیروی پدافند هوایی اضافه می‌کنه.
The S-band is an important feature in radar design. It works so reliably that the United States uses this band to communicate with its satellites and space shuttle. Muraqib and Nazir have another brother named the Persian Gulf. This radar is specially made for radar evasive aircraft. On the other hand, the Iranian army has designed an important system which is similar to the S-300 but much more efficient. This video shows the pilot test for Bavar 373 missile. Bavar uses Iranian-made Sayad missiles and destroys 6 targets at the same time. Bavar shoots vertically. It shoots from a canister, which means it has outmatched the S-300. Bavar's radar detects all aircraft, even the strategic and very expensive American F-35. Bavar can hide among terrain features. Its mast opens and closes quickly. It can change its position very quickly. Its missile is called the Sayad 4, which is completely Iranian. This is the same missile that was first made through reverse engineering of the Americans' missiles, and now it is so advanced it can detect and hit the American F-35. Bavar is described by Chinese network military expert as follows.
天津河西区的网友博麦海宇提问：伊朗声称巴瓦尔373让伊朗成为导弹防御领域的强国之一。那么，巴瓦尔373在目前各国的防空系统中究竟处于什么水平呢？
首先要讲的是呢，伊朗这个说法，说这个导弹是一个反导系统，这个纯粹是蹭热度。因为从这个导弹系统的情况来看呢，它的主要任务还是传统的打飞机的任务，而反导可能是它的一部分延伸功能。但是就这个防空系统目前知道的有限的性能情况来看，具有较强的多目标捕捉和多目标攻击的能力。同时，上可以反导，下可以打直升机、打巡航导弹。从这样的一个描述来看呢，基本上可以判断它的总体性能应该是不弱的。按照伊朗人的说法，可以大体上说和 S-400是处在一个技术水平。
This is a description of the power of a country that 30 years ago announced its need to have a defense system to the world and was sanctioned by all powers and allies.
این ادعا نیست، این واقعیته که ما به کمک مغزافزارهای نیروی پدافند هوایی ارتش جمهوری اسلامی ایران، مغزافزارهای وزارت دفاع، مغزافزارهای شرکت‌های دانش بنیان و به خصوص مغزافزارهای دانشگاه‌های کشورمون، علاوه بر اینکه تونستیم در همه حوزه‌های کشف، شناسایی، رهگیری، درگیری و فرماندهی و کنترل از مرزهای دانش عبور کنیم، ما سامانه‌هایی داریم که مشابهی در دنیا نداره. ما امروز میتونیم تا فاصله بیش از 3000 کیلومتر قلب دشمن رو رصد کنیم در 360 درجه. این فناوری ها در اختیار محدود و انگشت شمار از کشورهاست. ما افتخار میکنیم که تمام این سامانه ها، سیستم سلاح ها کاملا بومی است و در این حوزه هیچ نیاز و وابستگی به کشورهای دیگه نداریم، بلکه به کشورهای دوست میتونیم کمک بکنیم و این دانش و تجهیزات و سامانه ها رو در صورت صلاح دید حتی فناوریش رو هم در اختیارشون قرار بدیم.
A colossal monster emerges from behind the clouds, embodying Iran's ambitious vision. This radar is known as Sepir. The range of the radar is 3,000 kilometers. That is, if an aircraft takes off from Israeli-occupied territories, it will be monitored in Tehran. Intercepting Israeli aircraft is not good news for the regime. Israel's small army used to rely on surprise attack as a principle previously. On the other hand, Iran's allies have been equipped with air defense systems for years. One of them is Hezbollah.
وتستمر الملحمة من جيل إلى جيل.
While Lebanon does not have any air defense system, Hezbollah surprised everyone by purchasing the Psalm 22 system. This system has already been seen in the Egyptian army and works very well to deal with fighters and helicopters in areas like Lebanon. It means that Iran's air defense power is no longer limited to its borders. Iran is the defense eye of all axes of resistance.
On position.
Today, Iran has turned out to be an active pole of drone power in the region and across the world. It can send long-range, pinpoint missiles and drones for specific purposes beyond its borders. It can also monitor, control, and guide the missiles and drones through its most advanced radar and defense systems.
به این عکس ها خیره شو به اون روزهای پر از خاطره نخوا گرمی خواب چشم کسی بذاره که بیداری یادت بره به این عکس ها خیره شو به اون روزهای پر از خاطره نخوا گرمی خواب چشم کسی بذاره که بیداری یادت بره